What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, we're going to check out some awesome battles submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Boohoo Stallion. So shout out to this battler. Thank you for sharing this with us. We have a Slowpoke here with Scrafty and Meta Cham, which is honestly kind of dangerous. Thinking about all the Charmers that we see, all the Fire Flyers like Charizard and Talonflame, on top of all the Poison Pokemon as well, who are going to be resisting those counter moves while hitting neutral damage as well. So these Pokemon have a lot against them, so let's see how they perform today. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this team. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle here, we have Slowpoke on the lead versus Lickitung. Okay, obviously wishing they had the fighter on it, so they're going to go ahead and bring in the Meta Cham, and we will see that Talonflame now come in. But this is what's great about Meta Cham, especially if you've been building up your XL Meta Cham. Firstly, it's extremely tanky, and secondly, the Psychics do so much neutral damage that it's going to be forcing shields here from Talonflame. So they're going to go ahead and let the first charge move go through. Hopefully it is just a flame charge, which it is. That Brave Bird would have been devastating. But as you can see, Meta Cham's able to survive and actually able to get to another Psychic right here just in time. Now, is this going to be enough damage to take out the Talonflame here in the mid game? Oh, it is! One counter away and takes down Talonflame with 1 HP in a dream. Scrafty now is perfectly aligned with Power Up Punch and counter, and we see a swap now into Meta Cham. So we're going to see that foul play come out here for neutral damage, and then Slowpoke is going to make quick work here, ironically, of the Meta Cham because of confusion and Psyshock. So we're going to go ahead and see a shield now come up. Obviously, Scrafty's going to do incredibly well versus the Lickitung in the back, but Slowpoke right here just completely destroying with confusion. Will we see a second shield as well? No, they're going to go ahead and let it go. It is going to be the Psychic, but barely does any damage right there, even though they did do Power Up Punch, and Slowpoke absolutely destroys the XL Meta Cham right there. We're going to see it come in now with double Psyshocks right here to do the neutral damage. Gets a shield from the Lickitung, and obviously the HP bars are all over the place because it's glitched out. But that's okay. The Psyshock's going to do some nice damage. Scrafty's going to go ahead and come in and close this game out. So my fears or questions about that Talonflame just have been answered. Meta Cham can handle it. Alright, so we got Slowpoke versus Seaking here on the lead. We'll have to see how they decide to play it, but both Pokemon are going to be doing neutral damage with their charge moves, right? A Drill Run here, which we're guessing is going to be a Drill Run because it's going to be a Legacy Seaking. Will do neutral damage. Actually, they went for Icy Wind. Interesting play. The confusions are still going to be adding up, and Psyshocks as well is going to be really forcing shield pressure here early, which if the fighters in the back can get shield advantage, they can still make quick work of their counters. So they do shield that first one. Can they get to another one in time? Here comes the potential Drill Run. The Slowpoke is going to go ahead and respect it and shield, and it's actually just going to be another Icy Wind. So they're going to go ahead and swap out now into Meta Cham, and they swap in a Magcargo. This thing is going to get absolutely deleted by Meta Cham with the counters and Psychic right here. So let's see how the Magcargo decides to handle it. They're going to go ahead and shield. I imagine we're going to let this Meta Cham, yeah, they're going to go ahead and no-shield the Meta Cham. Keeping a shield for Scrafty or Slowpoke to kind of close this game out is going to be very, very advantageous for them. And the Rock Tomb as well barely did any damage because of the typing. So Meta Cham here is going to be able to get to another Psychic and completely close out this mid-game. So obviously that was a bad switch by the opponent, and they are extremely weak to counter, which means the Scrafty is going to destroy this endgame. We'll have to see what that final Pokemon is going to be. Hopefully it wasn't a counter to a fighter. No, it was a Porygon, which makes complete sense. Scrafty right here is going to take it with counters alone, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. So obviously they didn't have a really strong answer to double fighters there at all. Seaking taking neutral and the backline taking super effective, which just goes to show if there's no counters, this team can absolutely tear through teams on neutral damage. Alright, moving to the next one, we got Slowpoke versus Meta Cham on the lead. We saw how this played out in game 1, not necessarily on the lead, but in a similar situation where confusion is just eating away. And we saw how much damage Psychic did it was nothing, and this is definitely not going to be a powered up Psychic as well, which means it is going to tickle. But here comes the Psyshock now from Slowpoke. We'll have to see if the Meta Cham is going to decide to shield. No, they decided to let it go. So Slowpoke now has an opportunity to potentially fully farm down, but it's going to be very dangerous if they do go for it, because they're going to have to shield the Psychic. Yeah, we will see the shield come up. We saw how much damage it did, and this is definitely going to threaten that HP, so they will shield it and farm down. Now, what is going to come in? It is going to be Alomomola, which is interesting. We'll have to see what that final Pokemon is going to be, but if there is no counter, again, to fighters, things are looking very strong for the backline. We're going to see a swap out now into Scrafty, and we will see a Talonflame come in. So this is where foul plays are going to be really beneficial here for that neutral damage, and I think we'll probably see the Meta Cham clean this game up. No shield as well on the Talonflame, which is huge now for this situation, because if this is a Brave Bird, Slowpoke can come in and farm down, but it is only going to be a Flame Charge, which is going to allow Scrafty to get to a potential foul play, but they went early for the power-up punch, hoping to force a shield here and do as much extra counter damage as they can. And it was a no shield there on the Talonflame. This Talonflame is wanting to get rid of the Scrafty without giving up any shields, which means it's going to be up to Alomomola to close this game out. But we're going to see that Slowpoke come in. 2 Confusions are able to handle it, and they will be able to get off the Psyshock as well to force a shield. So now it's going to be Meta Cham versus Alomomola. 1 shield to 1 shield here in the end game. Alomomola does have energy advantage, but losing in the HP advantage, which is going to really help out for counter. Now, we'll have to see if they're going to be able to go for 2 Psychics, but I imagine we might have to see a shield bait here. Obviously, stopping the Hydro Pump here, but this is going to be very close game. I think 2 Ice Punches is going to be enough. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and go for the Ice Punches. Even if they let this go, the added damage with counter should be enough, and they do decide to shield anyways, which is fine. That means they can go for the Psychic now and close this game out, so that is going to be a good game. Very well played right there. Very risky with the Talonflame. I think it would have been a lot more dangerous of a game if the Talonflame was shielding in order to keep its HP and its boost, because then things would have gotten very dangerous. All right, so we got a lead loss here. We're going to see the Scrafty, or the Meta Cham come in right away, I should say, and a Wigglytuff come in. All right, this is what we want to see. How can this team handle a Charmer and Electrode lead? They're going to go ahead and go for Psychic. Now, thankfully, Wigglytuff here is part normal typing as well, which means it's going to be taking neutral from those counters. And Psychic as well is shielded, so getting a shield right there is huge. We're going to see Slowpoke now come in. They're probably going to have to give up 1 shield as well in kind, but they should be able to load up on quite a bit of energy. Confusion, as we can see, is doing a lot of damage, and yeah, they will have to shield. Now, Charm as well is going to be chunking, so they're not going to come out of this with a lot of HP, but a lot of energy could give them an advantage versus that Electrode, because 2 Psyshocks should definitely threaten the health. So here comes the first Psyshock. They're probably going to be throwing it right away, and hopefully there's not another Charmer in the back. Otherwise, Scrafty's going to go down. They bring in the Electrode, and here comes the Psyshock and the potential swap now into Scrafty. No shield on it, which means the Electrode is at half HP, and they're building up to a... they are weak to Scrafty in the back. They got to shield the potential Hyper Beam right here. That was enough energy for it to be a Hyper Beam, but it's just going to be a Discharge, and they are weak to Scrafty, so they're going to throw another Discharge here. It's probably going to be maybe Alomomola or Lickitung. Let's see what's going to be in the back. Doesn't matter. Scrafty knocks it down, and it's going to be Alomomola. That makes sense. A shiny one at that, so that is a nice flex. But Scrafty here is going to make some quick work of it with these power-up punches and foul plays as well. It's going to be pretty close, but hopefully it can hang on to do enough counter damage, whereas Psyshock here from Slowpoke will do enough. Now, this is going to be an interesting race. They do get to the foul play in time, so this might just force that shield that they need to get Alomomola out of the way, and they decided no shield, so the Slowpoke's going to come in and Confusion down. Did I miss a shield? I might have missed a shield there. It might have been a no shield game, but good game, very well played. All right, we got Slowpoke versus Meta Cham again on the lead, positive like we've seen before, but they're going to have to shield once if they want to win this, as long as they're shielding the Psychics, right? Let's see how this plays out. Here comes the first charge move. I think that was a bit quick. They're going to go ahead and let it go. No, it was going to be a Psychic. These battles are a bit sped up as well, so it's kind of hard to count the fast moves right here. As some are just kind of like delayed coming through. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but here comes the first Psyshock. We know how this plays out if they decide to let it go, and they do. So that, oh, okay, they're going to mix it up here, and they're going to swap into their own Meta Cham here to soak the charge move, even though the Slowpoke, they don't want to give up a shield. The Psychic does a decent amount of damage, and they bring in Slowbro now. All right, so we got Meta Cham, Slowpokes, and Slowbros. They're going to have to go for Psychic here, as Ice Punch and Psychic are both resisted because of that typing, but at least Psychic is same type attack bonus here from Meta Cham. Now, they will be able to get to another one. They do. This is huge right here for the Meta Cham. I don't think we'll see the Slowpoke shield, though, as it's still got a decent amount of HP. Yeah, barely able to hang on, but they do get a defense drop. All right, so this is going to be a questionable endgame. They're going to come in with Scrafty right here, hoping for the Psychic now from Slowpoke. Hopefully it's not Water Pulse. It is going to be the Psychic, which is resisted. That's beautiful, so they should be able to counter down. Now, Meta Cham as well is going to be coming back in, but it's extremely low, and counters take it out. What is that final Pokemon going to be? It's going to be a Macargo, so Scrafty is gonna go to town here with power-up punches and counters. Macargo has no line of defense other than those shields, and it's not gonna shield it because it is gonna get absolutely destroyed here from Scrafty. And with every power-up punch that you do, your attack is increased, which means the later power-up punches are gonna be doing more and more damage. That's why we saw shields there, but it doesn't matter. Scrafty is boosted out of its mind right now, and it's gonna punch the Fire Snail out of the game right here. So that is gonna be a good one. Very well played. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Slowpoke on the lead versus Melodic. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Slowpoke obviously having the advantage here with the typing and moveset, and that is actually going to be a Dragon Tail Melodic right there, so not Waterfall. So this is actually going to be a very interesting game. We'll have to see if there's a Hyper Beam as well. But here comes the Psyshock now from Slowpoke. And it does get a shield. Okay, so that's going to be very advantageous for the backline, obviously. Now, is this going to be a Hyper Beam right here? They're going to let it go. Oh, it's just going to be a Surf that is going to be resisted there by the Slowpoke because of that water type. And here comes another Surf, and they're going to let this go. Slowpoke is barely going to be able to hang on right here. Hopefully, we can get one more Confusion in, and we see a swap into Gyarados. This thing is going to have to shield the Psyshock right here. And then we will see the Meta Cham now come in. While as great of a swap as that was, it was not very advantageous because they were forced to shield anyways, and there is no fires in the back for Melodic to really have a strong target against. So we're going to see this Psychic land here. Hopefully this does enough super effective damage to take it out. And let's see. Ooh, barely not enough right there. They should be able to counter down. They're going to be taking another charge move here. They might just have to shield, which they will. It is going to be another lunge. So hopefully Switch Clock is coming back up very soon because they need to clear that debuff. And this Meta Cham is pretty loaded on energy, and it's going to be a Talonflame in the back. So yes, if they can clear this debuff right now, so they're going to have to shield this. Obviously, this is their plan. They're going to clear the lunge debuff, and they're probably going to be coming in now with Scrafty, which they are going to do. And this Talonflame is going to be itching to throw a Brave Bird right here. I imagine this is going to be a boom like no other. Charge. All right. We see a swap now into Melodic. It's going to be catching the foul play. So these swaps, while the timing is great, the impact is not so great because it is going to go down. And then we have a Scrafty now about to get to another foul play with a Meta Cham with loaded energy still. So here comes the foul play. This might actually do enough damage, but my goodness, I wanted to see the Brave Bird. I'm sure you guys did too. But that's going to be a good game. Scrafty's going to take it down, and all three Pokemon are alive. All right. Moving into the next battle, we have Slowpoke on the lead versus Meta Cham again. All right, I don't need to describe how this is going to play out. You guys have seen it enough if you guys have hung around this long already. But we'll have to see how this battler decides to play it. We've seen them stay in and shield, and then we've seen them swap as well. We haven't seen the opponent shield at all, just like this. Now we see a swap from the opponent into a Seaking, which is perfectly fine right here. They're going to go ahead and go for the charge move, and they're going to let it go. Hopefully it is not the Drill Run. It is the Drill Run that does a decent amount of neutral damage, and they're going to go ahead ahead and go for the Psyshock here. Hopefully this forces a shield here from the Seaking, and we're probably going to see a swap out, which we do, into Scrafty now. So Scrafty doesn't really need to shield one of these charge moves. It's probably going to be the Icy Wind as well. Yeah, it is going to be the Icy Wind. Doesn't do too much damage right there, but it's going to need to go for a power-up punch. Now, this kind of counters the Icy Wind debuff, right? So they're basically going to be a net neutral attack, and they should be able to counter down and get the Seaking out of there before another charge move comes through. So able to hold switch advantage and able to, oh, here comes the charge move from Meta Cham, able to keep shield advantage as well, which is always very big. That Psychic is not going to be enough damage, and they do get to a foul play, but we see an Alomomola swap in right here, not knowing that there is a Meta Cham with shields lurking in the back. So here comes the Meta Cham, and this is going to look to be a good game. Very well played, as counters, Psychics are going to make quick work here. Well, maybe not even quick work, because Alomomola is an absolute tank, but Alomomola is not really going to do a lot here versus Meta Cham. We still have a bit of energy, I believe, still on Slowpoke. If anything, it's going to be a good swap opportunity to catch the charge move, and they're going to go ahead and bring in the Slowpoke and Confusion down. This is going to be an interesting race. Hopefully they can get to the Psyshock in time, which they can. This is going to be forcing that shield from the opponent, and this is going to be a very close one, as Meta Cham's going to be able to farm down, but it has no shields left. Can they get to the Ice Punch in time? Here comes the charge move. They're going to no-shield it. If it's the Psychic, this could be devastating. It is going to be the Psychic, and it lands. It's going to be a race to the Ice Punch, and they do get to it in time. Hopefully this does enough neutral damage in the matchup to close this game out, which I think it will. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving into the next one, we have Dr. Metapod. We got Meta Cham on the lead again. Oh, goodness, what are they going to do here? Let's see what happens. It looks like this battle is a quick one as well. Because I'm watching these battles on my second monitor, basically, and have them all on the line. So let's see how this plays out. They go for the Psychic, and they're going to go ahead and go for the Psychic. My goodness, we're seeing the same thing over and over and over. Well, to be fair, it is the Love Cup, and the meta is pretty dense. All right, we're going to see a Scissor come in. So here comes the Scrafty right here, looking to go for power-up punches and counter. Really no reason to try to go for the foul play, because you really just want to build up as much damage as you can and just counter down this Scissor right here, which is honestly such a cool Pokemon. And hopefully it gets some, I mean, its moveset that it has is honestly pretty good. But hopefully it gets some really cool moves in the future. That would be great. But we're going to see the Meta Cham come back in, and a foul play as well is going to be able to be thrown right here from the Scrafty. This might force a shield here from Meta Cham, which it doesn't. So Meta Cham goes down, and a Macargo is in the back. That's a good game right there. This is why it's short. The opponent decides to surrender. All right, good game. We got Slowpoke now versus Meta Cham again. All right. Oh, we see a swap out right away into Alomomola. Let's see how the battler here decides to react. They're looking to load up on energy and go for a Psyshock now. Honestly, they're going to be resisting all the moves from Alomomola. Waterfall, Blizzard, Psychic, Hydro Pump. But they're going to go ahead and now go into Scrafty and just start loading up on energy. Again, with Meta Cham being on the lead, having a Scrafty face off against Alomomola is pretty advantageous for them, especially if they can load up on energy and just go for foul plays versus the Meta Cham in the back, as it will do neutral damage. So they might just be able to get 3 foul plays off right here. Let's see how this plays out. Here comes the first foul play. And again, there's really no reason to go for power-up punch then foul play because the Meta Cham's probably not going to be shielding anyways, and you just want to do as much neutral damage as you can. So here comes another one, and now it's going to be a race to see if the Scrafty can get to the third one in time, potentially forcing a shield right here. I think it might just be able to do it unless Meta Cham's going to throw an Ice Punch, which it's not. So Scrafty now is able to get to the third one, and this is probably going to be forcing a shield here from Meta Cham. No, it took out the Meta Cham, and the final Pokemon is a Lickitung, and that is a good game. Very well played. Man, these tanks hiding in the back are Pokemon weak to counter. are getting annihilated. Alright, Slowpoke versus Slowbro. Now, it does say 2021, but we don't actually know what year this is going to be, as they had these glasses multiple times in a row. So, we're going to go ahead and see the swap into Scrafty to catch the charge move, and Scrafty somehow lost, 25% of its HP, and then gained 5% right there. Very interesting. But we will see, we will see foul plays now come off. I don't think they're going to have enough time to get to a second one, but this first one at least can do a decent amount of neutral damage. And now it's going to be a race to see if they can get to the second one, but yeah, I don't think they're going to get there in time. Meta Cham's pretty loaded now, and we will see that Slowpoke come in. And thankfully, Meta Cham is now low enough where Slowpoke can potentially Confusion down if they want to. Again, not fearing any charge moves that they have, as they're going to be resisting them. And the Psych... What? Okay. I forgot the damage from Slowpoke. I thought that Psychic just did 60% of its HP. It didn't. That was... Remember the HP from the beginning of the fight, which is, again, why these HP bars being so messed up is really tough to deal with. But Meta Cham goes down. We will see the Slowbro now come in. And this is a kid versus daddy fight, so let's see how this plays out. Psyshock's going to be no-shielded, obviously. Confusions are just starting to add up. Hopefully they can get to another one in time, because they really need that shield advantage, and they swap into a Scrafty. That is the saving grace now for this battler, as Meta Cham can really come into this matchup and do very, very well with counters, and just honestly just load up on energy, and the opponent decides to surrender. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. So obviously this double fighter team did extremely well. We saw how well it performed against Pokemon that were hard countering it, right? We saw Electrode, Talonflame, we saw Talonflame swap-ins, but it also does really well because some teams just don't have two answers for fighters, which is why we saw so many Macargos and Lickitungs in the back that just got destroyed. So, good games right here. Really interesting team. These are XL Pokemon, though, the Meta Cham and the Slowpoke. The Scrafty is not. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.